ago, you made a little bit of a goof when we were talking about looking up a movie rating, and you had mentioned the score on Rotten Potato.
I did say that, yes.
And then you asked me if I had ever had a potato rot, and you teased that you had a Rotten Potato story that we never actually got to.
I was thinking about this actually when I was editing that episode. I was like, oh damn, I never got to tell that story.
Yeah.
So welcome everyone to Breakroom Nachos episode 4. Happy to have you. Mike and I just sat down to get ready to record, and I guess that's what we're starting with. So I had an issue. I want to say it was probably December, like over a year ago.
Okay.
My kitchen started to smell like terrible.
Oh,
like,
no.
It just started to smell like garbage, and I couldn't figure out why. Like for a bit, I thought it had something to do with my cat food because, you know, Luna doesn't eat very well. So I leave her food out for her to eat throughout the day because she doesn't eat it all at once.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe like leaving her cat food out for a while kept making my kitchen smell. But like I started like tossing it earlier and it still wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
So then I started like taking out my trash more often and it still didn't go away. And so finally, Sean came over to my apartment and I asked him, can you smell my kitchen and see if you recognize what the smell is?
Yeah.
Because he is like, he has a pretty good sense of smell and he knows a lot more about food than me. So I was thinking like maybe something about that would cause him to be like, oh, this is what's causing the smell.
Why not? I would have thought garbage disposal myself.
That's smart. I might have checked that. I don't remember everything I looked at, but I like seriously for like a week was like trying to figure out like, why does my kitchen smell so bad? And while he was there, he couldn't figure out what it was. But while he was standing there, I finally connected the dots on what it was. When we made mashed potatoes together in Captain's kitchen.
Yes.
You might remember I tore the bag open with a knife. Even though it was resealable.
Yep.
When I did that, I then put the remaining potatoes inside a sealed plastic bag. And then I put them in a drawer and forgot about them.
Oh, no.
So they were in a sealed container in a drawer.
Oh, just
for more than a month.
Wow.
And they rotted like crazy.
Well,
they had those crazy like white heads, but they also had like decomposed and turned all black. Oh. And I like opened the drawer and there was just disgusting bag sitting in there, and both Sean like this smell went up to like it was at like a 6 at that point, and then it went up to a 10 as soon as I opened up the drawer.
Oh no.
So it was like, yep, these potatoes just rotted like crazy. And this is the source.
Oh no. And I very specifically remember the scene of that video when we made the mashed potatoes and you just like sliced right through that bag and you're like,
I was immediately like, why did I do that?
Yeah, it's got a seal. Yeah.
And I don't know why I never thought like, oh, there's a reason potato bags have holes in them.
Right. They got to breathe.
So I just fucking sealed them up in a plastic bag.
Yeah. Why not?
And boom, they rotted and my kitchen smelled disgusting. And even after the fact, like I had to like clean out the drawer and like shot it with a bunch of air freshener. And I still like for like 2 weeks afterwards could still smell it for a while. It was horrifying and
gross.
I never told you about that, and I realized I should have because, you know, you were there when I made the initial mistake.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's the story of the time that I had rotten potatoes in my drawer, and it was bad, dude.
Nice.
So anyway, what have you been up to? How's your week going?
Week's going pretty good. Usually the beginning of my week is usually pretty easy. Nothing too eventful going on. I did get a phone call yesterday from Jess, who is the wife of my friend Mike, talking to me about how she was listening to the episode that came out yesterday.
Okay.
And she has been a little disappointed that she hasn't really been.
You mentioned her when you mentioned the nudist story.
I did.
Listen here, Jess. I have never met you. I don't know anything about you, but I think you need to fucking chill.
Okay, well, I'm taking it to the opposite end of the spectrum, and I've started.
Well, I don't know her, so I can be mean to her without repercussion.
Right, you can, But I've decided to make a list of all different things that I could talk about
Related to
involving
her.
Yes. And so I am going to tell the story of the greatest joke anyone has ever told.
Okay.
It was by me.
You told the joke?
I told the greatest joke of all time.
A little bit fucking bloated ego there, Mike.
Little bit. It's not actually I like to tell. I like a good joke.
Yeah, of course.
But bust some balls.
Gotta bust some balls to the boys, yeah.
Right on. So Mike and Jess were over, and I don't even know what we were saying. She gave me crap about something for something, and I came back with one of the worst possible responses ever.
All right.
But it turned into the greatest joke of all time. So I come back and I say something stupid like, "Oh yeah, Jess, well, your dad is your uncle."
What does that mean?
I made some sort of inbred
incest joke? Okay.
Yeah. So thinking nothing of it, I just kind of let it go at that point. Well, she goes, "Okay, fine, let me explain."
No. Oh no.
So this is where the joke becomes the greatest joke of all time. I don't let on to her that I was just joking and pretend like I knew about this story and sat back while she explained. So, okay, I'm probably getting this a little bit incorrectly, but I want to say one of her dad's parents and one of her stepmom's parents are married to each other.
No.
So technically her dad is also her step uncle. And she just went on telling me the whole story about how technically, yes, her dad is her uncle, not knowing that I already knew this. And I just sat back and enjoyed listening to the hilarity of her explaining to the room of people we were in about her.
Oh God, a whole room of people.
I mean, there were probably only 3 or 4 of us, but still, I don't think anybody other than
expected that situation.
Yeah, I don't think anyone other than Mike knew that story. So there you go, Jess. Story number 1.
Oh my God. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that, Jess. I redact what I said about, you needing to fucking back off. Just purely out of respect for that. Let's get an F in the chat for Jess here. That's really good.
Right? The joke itself was horrible, but you just got to play it off oh, I knew all about this, but I would like to hear this story.
Oh yeah. Well, if people just start volunteering info like that, you just got to go along with it.
Yeah, you just go with it.
Oh yeah, totally. Mike, I do have a surprise for you.
Oh.
I got you a present.
You got me a present?
I got you a present.
Okay.
I did forget to wrap it though, so close your eyes.
Okay. All right. Eyes are closed. My eyes actually are closed, by the way.
Yeah, it's not some fake bullshit.
Yeah.
Hold out your hands.
Okay.
And you can open your eyes.
Oh, yes. Oh, this was actually another thing that I wanted to talk about.
Are you going to tell people what it is?
Yeah. Sorry. So Matt got me a copy of the newest Jumanji movie.
The Jumanji 3.
Yeah, Jumanji: The Next Level. So we had talked about this previously, and I told you.
Well, because I knew you needed to have the whole collection.
Right. So funny thing is, after we filmed that, I went home and I realized that I just assumed that I had the first one.
So wait, you only have the new.
Yes. When you have as many movies as I do, sometimes it gets a little hard to remember. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure I have Jumanji. I'll get the second one. And then come to find out I only had the second one. And now I have the second and third without the original Jumanji.
It makes me so happy that you only have the reboot. That is too funny.
Yep.
Jack Black is all up in your bookcase, my man.
Oh, I love it. Yep.
That is too fucking good. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jumanji. I love it.
Yeah. So I was at Target and I saw that and I was like, oh, Mike deserves Jumanji.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that, but now that means I really do.
You really need the old Jumanji.
Yeah. Robin Williams, R.I.P.
That was a sad fucking day.
It was.
I loved Robin Williams. He's in so many good movies, and he just seemed like a genuinely good dude. I was very, very sad to hear about his passing.
Yeah, he seemed like a good dude. I don't know how much time that I could have spent around him because I feel like you would probably get annoyed with him after a little while.
I mean, I don't know, but
like he just had that personality in interviews where he was like always in some sort of character.
I can see that.
And I feel like at some point you're like, oh my gosh, Robin, look, it's time for dinner. Calm down.
Well, he was just one of those guys who, you know, especially with the dumbass like Instagram influencer kind of situation that we're in today's day and age, where there's all these like internet famous people who are just complete and utter dicks.
Right.
Like people like that who, when you see them and they seem like they're just genuinely nice people, even if like despite their fame, like they're that much more valuable in my mind.
Right.
Where it's like, even if you met them out on the street, they'd still be nice to you. It's like, whenever I think about people like that, I then think of, I don't know if you saw this, but like a few years ago at VidCon, there was an Instagram influencer who had something like 10,000 followers.
Okay.
Just berating the shit out of the VidCon security officer, like saying he was irrelevant, saying he was a nobody, saying he had no style when he was just wearing his security uniform.
What?
The video went like the video went way more popular than he was, of him just being a complete asshole to this security guard.
Yeah. And
the security guard got followed like crazy as a result, so he ended up with way more followers than
that's great.
So, you know, that was a positive turn of it, but it was just one of those things where it's like, dude, you have 10,000 followers. Even in terms of internet fame, you are not famous. Like internet famous people are like that step below proper celebrities.
Right.
And he's at like the bottom rung of that. And he's just being a complete and utter dick.
Right.
To someone who's just doing their job. So it's like, I'm so glad like he got his comeuppance off of that.
He let the smallest amount of power go to his head.
It was absurd. He looked so weird too. He had like some like bleached hair with like,
oh, of course he
the
did.
modern version of like frosted tips, and he had that like plastic Playboy look on his face.
Oh gosh,
I hate people, man. I wish everyone was dead.
Oh, that's
like all of them.
That's kind of extreme.
Like I just think if there's gonna be people like that in existence, it's just safer if everybody's dead.
Yeah.
And I mean that, I feel like I am saying this as a bit, but also I have been saying for years that I think the human race needs to go extinct.
You have said that
on many occasions, on live streams and in conversations, because we are ruining the world that we live on. So I just feel like we would all collectively, like as a human race, and then the earth itself would benefit. Like not everyone has to die right now. Like you don't have to be killed. But what I am saying is that every human ever needs to be sterilized so that the human race cannot continue to prosper. Like eventually the last human will die out with nothing they can do about it.
And then we'll just have a giant F in chat.
A big F, a real big F.
For the human race.
Yeah. And then, you know, nature can take back over and we'll be good, man. That's it.
Okay.
I don't know. Like
it's an interesting take.
The more I think about the human race, the less I want it to exist.
All right.
We've done a lot of bad stuff.
We have. Humans have done horrible, horrible things over the years.
And certainly, like, you as an individual or me as an individual are not responsible for all the horrible things that have happened on Earth. But the fact of the matter remains that our species existing caused these things to happen. So maybe it'd be better if we just weren't around.
Remember those stupid kids that opened up that Jumanji game and started playing, and all the hell that they opened up?
Seriously, like just complete reckless abandon.
Absolutely.
Oh man. Or some kids. Oh, I forgot. I had to mention. We finally got your age correctly guessed.
Oh, nice.
Everybody on my Discord was guessing your age. So the first guess was obviously my mom at 27.
Yeah.
Shopwhoop gave you 37.
Okay, close.
Scorpion gave you a 32.
Okay.
And then actually, I have to pull up the comment exactly. Microwave correctly guessed and used like scientific reasoning to deduce your age precisely.
Perfect. I had even talked about trying to not give away too many clues. So I'm glad someone was able to sleuth my age.
Well, effectively, you didn't even give it away of yourself in a way. Like I kind of gave it away.
Okay.
So let me read this out.
Yeah, what do you got?
So Microwave said, and Microwave has been a longtime fan of my live stream. She's like the most positive person ever.
Mm-hmm.
She said, since I know Mack is baby age, I did some research. Bionicles were released in 2001. And since Mike knows nothing about them, he must have been at least like 17 back then. So Mike is over 36 years old.
I am 36. So very good, Microwave.
Very scientific, deducted reasoning.
Yeah. That is a dedicated listener. Thank you.
So that's it. And that's the end of the bit. It's done now.
It's done. We know our ages.
The other thing, my mom listened to the snow day story.
Yes.
Or the sledding off the roof story.
This is something I was going to ask you about.
She did. She listened to it and she left a comment on the video saying I was grounded, first of all. So I haven't left the house in 2 weeks. Just figured I had to listen to that.
Not pandemic related. This is
no, because I'm grounded. I'm not allowed to leave the house. I'm an essential worker, but I'm grounded.
Right.
So it is what it is. But she did a very wholesome mom thing.
Uh-huh.
She texted me and apologized.
For what?
She said she felt bad because I was hurt and she could have done something.
Oh, your mom is great.
I love my mom. She's the best. But she just had this very wholesome. And I said to her, I was like, this was over a decade ago. I don't need you to apologize. It was just a funny story at this point.
Right.
But she felt bad because she was like, I could have helped. And you felt you had to hide this from us. And then the other thing she said, and this doesn't surprise me knowing my mom.
Yeah.
She said that it was my dad who didn't want us up on the roof. She thought it looked like a lot of fun.
Oh, mom was all on board with this.
My mom's the best. My mom, like, we were talking when we were talking about camping stories, we talked a little bit about like the hover parents, like kind of ruining Boy Scouts in my opinion. But my mom was never like that. My mom was always like the let kids get hurt, they got to learn kind of mom.
I like it.
And like let kids try things. Don't worry about allergies. We'll find out if they have allergies. If they try those things, let's not avoid them having peanut butter at age 3. Let's just let it happen.
Right.
So I love my mom. She's never been like a hover parent type. She's always been the type to just let my brothers and I do our shit. So it's not too shocking to me now that she's told me that she was the one who thought it'd be fun. But so that was just my mom's like super wholesome response to that.
Oh, I love it. Do you remember if your parents were home when that story took place?
I don't know. I want to say that they were. I really don't know. It'd be impossible to tell. My mom, so when I was growing up, my dad is an air traffic controller.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't home most of the time during the day. My mom, for the first few years that I was alive, I believe was just a stay-at-home mom. And then, she worked at Target for a good number of years when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
She's a pharmacy technician now, works in hospitals, super well-trained in her field, all kinds of stuff like that. But so she was home a lot of the time back then. She may have been home. There's a chance that we weren't allowed outside when they weren't home, but I also don't think that's the case. Again, because my mom was not like uber careful. She just was like, kids are going to get hurt. It happens.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. I think they probably were home, but I really don't know.
Well, because I mean, just thinking about that, you talking about having this like sheet metal roof, I can imagine you kids were like super loud just walking around.
Well, you might be right about that, but we had a separate like garage portion of the house, and that's the roof we were sliding off of.
Gotcha.
So from the inside of the house, you probably couldn't hear it.
Gotcha. When we finally hit those 100,000 subscribers and we do our sleepover podcast,
yeah,
I think one activity for that, I think we should play
Jumanji.
Yeah, there's a Jumanji game. I was at Target last week.
Yeah. No, I'd be down to do that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I was thinking about that too. Like we could even like watch the Jumanji movie. I don't know how necessarily how we would get away with that with like copyright laws and all that, but I have some ideas. There's like some websites where you can create a link for people to watch stuff with you, and like we could watch it and have our live reactions like on a live stream or something like that. If people could watch it with us, I don't know. Just, pondering ideas.
Right? We got to watch that. We got to watch Mack and Me.
That's right. Mack and Me was the other one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. Along with a pulled pork pizza.
Oh yeah, totally. Cottage Inn, hit us up.
We probably should end up making some nachos too for that, right?
That that would be appropriate.
That would make sense.
That would make sense. Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna find that same nacho cheese sauce though.
I don't know.
So it's not available where we worked anymore.
Might have to Amazon that.
Oh yeah, Amazon. It's everything.
I mean, I could deal with a case of that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll go more into detail with that when the time comes. How about? You know what I have been thinking about lately?
What?
Kind of a lot, and I don't really know why. I'm a bit sad that the radio industry is kind of dying a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Because I've been thinking about it lately, and I think it would be really fun to have a radio show.
Okay, like you work for a radio station?
I work for a radio station, or I have my own radio station or something like that. And the reason I say this is partly because of this podcast. Like, in a way, this is almost kind of like a radio show between us. Like, we're just two dudes talking. And
absolutely, yeah.
We're uploading it. So, like, we have a ton of fun doing this. But I was thinking about it, and like, I love music. I listen to a ton of music.
Yeah.
In the last year, especially since my job lets me, kind of listen to music while I work, I've listened to a ton of new music. And I want to share it a lot with like the people who watch my live streams or watch my videos.
Yeah.
And I have tried to do that. Like, I made a video last year just recommending a bunch of music that I like. And like on the last on episode 2, I want to say, I talked about, how I'd gotten into Zutomayo, the Japanese rock band, and like, just as a little bit of a shout out to like check them out. But I just think it, with modern copyright laws, it is impossible for me to like say this is a really good song that I like and then just play it and show it off.
Right.
So I think, if I could have a radio show and like have some fucking executives or little lackeys running around who could secure the rights for me, and I could just play it on air, and just have like a late night radio show where I play a bunch of music I like, that would be so cool.
Right.
And I didn't like radio shows kind of growing up, and I've never really listened to radio myself. I listen to music off of, that I have like a Bluetooth thing that plays my music over the radio. But like I mentioned before, I have started to listen to more like podcasts, or like I listen to like game reviews, or I listen to videos about space while I'm working, because I get bored of listening to music all the time.
Right.
So just in general, I think if I had like a variety radio show where I could like show off music or just talk about interesting subjects, like, I don't know, that just sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And I had this idea for a video series a while ago, and I do really want to do this, but I'll talk about it anyway. And if anyone wants to steal it and use it, I'm all right with that, because I'm probably never going to do this.
Right.
But this combines my love for space and my like desire to kind of like have a radio show.
Hey.
I had this idea where I would kind of build an entire galaxy or universe and have like an entire lore behind it, like, planets and factions.
Okay.
And like come up with like, I don't know, car dealerships, but for spaceships, like, oh, the new Mercury 41X spaceship and like that would be ads on the radio show.
Okay.
And then I would have a weekly like radio show like coming from the future in space that I would just upload to YouTube, and people would kind of learn about the world that I'd created through the episodes of the radio show. And like every now and then I'd talk about trending topics, like, oh, this happened in this part of the universe this week or something like that. And I don't know, because me, like I'm a big fan of space, and I'm a big fan of like space games, like space simulation games.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen and No Man's Sky. And the thing that all of those games are lacking is something like that.
Yeah.
Elite Dangerous does have like a space radio kind of deal, but it's always super depressing, talking about like wars and assassinations that went on in the universe. And it's like, I don't want to fucking listen to this.
Yeah, you're always trying to save the universe from something.
Right. And so like it's not fun to listen to. So in a game like that, I love the idea of just being like a solitary spaceman traveling around doing odd jobs. And you can tune into this radio show once a week and hear from your space boy Mack talk about what's going on in the universe. So I don't consider myself a good enough writer to build an entire universe and keep up a constant lore and write an hour-long fake radio show from the future every week, which is why I'll probably never actually do it. But if anybody did do that kind of thing, I would absolutely listen to it. I think that'd be really cool.
Mac, I've told you about this. I don't know that I've mentioned it in an episode yet or not. I spend a lot of time watching TV. I am sitting on my couch a lot. So I keep a notepad on my coffee table, and whenever I think of an idea of something that I think we could talk about on an episode, I like to write it down.
Yeah.
So this is, oh gosh, maybe a month ago or so. It was one of the weekends of the NFL playoffs, and one of the games was being broadcast, I believe, on CBS, but I could be wrong. But they did kind of a cool thing, and they also at the same time were broadcasting the same game on Nickelodeon.
All right.
And they made this whole like kids kind of angle where they had like CGI slime when like someone would score a touchdown. It was really absurd.
Okay.
And then at halftime, instead of like cutting away and showing highlights, they showed a preview of a new SpongeBob show.
Okay.
And
oh god, that's such a missed opportunity.
it's called
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's Camp Coral, the SpongeBob Under Years.
Okay. I would like to talk about this.
Okay.
The creator of SpongeBob, or like the guy who made it super popular,
Yeah.
for years, like as the show was being made, kept trying to tell them like, do not make a SpongeBob baby show. Do not make a SpongeBob kids show. And like that idea got like brought up by Nickelodeon, and he like shot it down.
Yeah.
He kept being like, no, we're not doing a SpongeBob like SpongeBob kids show, because SpongeBob is a kids show.
Right.
And then like a week after he died, they announced the show was in production.
Oh, is that how it happened?
Yes.
I did not know that portion of the story.
I learned about this a while ago, and I was pissed. Apparently that like this show as a concept has been in the works for a while, which isn't shocking knowing like modern kids TV.
Yeah.
But the creator was so against it, and like effectively like his legacy, SpongeBob, he was like, don't make a kids version of this. Or don't like make a version of this with the characters as kids. And then they did it like right after he died. That's so messed up.
That is so horrible.
It's so not cool. This guy made like a generation defining kids show, and they had no respect for his wishes after he died. It's so messed up.
Right. Like the body was still warm. Come on.
So anyway, continue what you were saying about it.
Well, knowing what I know now, I might have to alter my my note that I wrote down, because I just wrote down Camp Coral, SpongeBob Under Years, 10 out of 10 would recommend. And that was all I wrote. Nothing else.
What does that mean? What was the idea there?
I don't know where I was going with it. I mean, apparently it worked out because it was funny enough that I thought I should bring it up now.
Oh man. That made me so mad. I was like, I can't believe that this is an actual thing.
Oh, it sucks that it was that close after he died, and especially that he was
specifically wanted that not to happen.
Correct.
Like, I feel like he probably avoided retirement specifically to avoid that happening.
Right.
Based on like what I've heard about it, but so not cool.
I will say the 15 minutes or so that they did show was pretty entertaining.
That's good. I feel like kids entertainment has become so lackluster, and sure, part of that is probably me getting older. But I look back at shows that were around when I was a kid, like we talked about Drake and Josh.
Right.
Or Teen Titans was huge when I was a kid. Ed, Ed, and Eddie. That's an interesting
Oh,
one.
I remember that one.
Ed, Ed, and Eddie was great. And even watching those as an adult, they're still really entertaining. And then I see what they're showing kids today, and it's like, you want to melt their brains before they're adults. That is your goal.
I love that in Ed, Ed, and Eddie, the Ed that was EDD. I love that they called him Double D.
Double D, yeah, because you could that way you could tell the difference between all of them.
Right.
Ed, Double D, and Eddie.
Right.
You know what else is great about Ed, Ed, and Eddie?
What?
The creator of it made it on a dare.
What?
He was like, I will never make a kids show. Or maybe it was a bet or something. It was like a lost bet. He was like, I'll never make a kids show. And like you look at his previous work before Ed, Ed, and Eddie, and you were like, yeah, this guy will never make a kids show.
Wow.
And so then he ended up having to pitch Ed, Ed, and Eddie as like a lost bet or something, and it aired for 4 seasons.
Damn. Nice.
I love stuff like that. And it's like, that was like a defining show for my childhood. My mom hated that show. She banned my brothers and I from watching it for a while because they used to tell each other to shut up, and she didn't like shut up.
Gotcha.
But Ed, Ed, and Eddie was a classic. That was a great show.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Speaking of Drake and Josh, you had told me about, was it Drake that was in that movie?
Josh was in Mean Creek.
Okay, Josh was also in another movie that I own called The Whackness.
The Whackness? Was this his child actor or adult?
This is child actor, but again, not a child's movie. Apparently,
good.
Apparently it was like a thing with him.
I guess so.
Yeah, I think there was similar kind of thing where kids just dropping F-bombs and just,
I love it.
But it's just so strange that it's like the same actor.
Yeah, well, maybe that was what he was trying to do, and he just got roped into Drake and Josh. I wonder, personally, I don't know how I would feel if I had a career that was known for like one thing and one thing only that I kept having to be known for. Because certainly Josh has gone on to have like a pretty good acting career. He's in a good number of stuff.
Yeah.
But he's still most known for Drake and Josh.
Oh, absolutely.
And Drake Bell too. He's like a musician and is actually pretty successful, but most people know him for Drake and Josh.
Right.
And then you think of like the Office people and how a lot of them are still to this day kind of riding the coattails of being on The Office while others are just trying to escape it.
Right.
But, you know, with the exception of basically Steve Carell, every one of them is still just known for The Office.
Right. Even John Krasinski, who's
gone on to do a lot of stuff.
He's been reasonably successful. He's
still just Jim from The Office.
Jim Halpert.
He's not John Ryan. Was it John Ryan? Josh Ryan? See, Jack. That's
Jack
it.
Ryan.
Well, he's not Jack Ryan. He's Jim Halpert.
Right. Hey, Jim Halpert.
Yeah, so I was talking about this with Sean a while back too, because him and I are pretty big fans of Rick Astley.
Right.
Who is obviously most known for Never Gonna Give You Up.
Right.
Which released on an album he made when he was 21.
Oh wow.
He was super young when that album came out, and that's like his main thing. That's what he's known for. And he's been reasonably successful off of that.
Yeah.
But that's still like the main thing he's known for. And I don't think I personally would feel good if I knew that like the thing I was known for was like one thing that happened, especially when I was like at that age. Like if I right now had one video come out that went super viral, but nothing else I ever made ever took off, I would hate that feeling. Like it would be nice to get recognized for something that I did, but you know, if I'm still making videos 5 years after the fact and trying to just, you know, make anything of myself and I'm still just known for that one video, God, I would hate that.
Yeah, like remember that kid like Haley Joel Osment?
Yeah, he was on The Shining, right?
The Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
But my point, you know him from that. You know that kid every time he's in public, who he's now an adult, people are just like, do you see dead people?
Yeah, totally.
And he's like, haha, real original. No one has said that to me in the last 20 years.
God, that would get so annoying. That's the worst for child actors too. That's why child actors get so fucked up.
Right.
That's why Macaulay Culkin went all drugs up, you know? He's doing much better now. Let's put that on the record. Macaulay Culkin's cool as fuck, but he definitely had some rough years.
Yeah. Didn't he come up with a band where the band does covers of Velvet Underground songs, but they cover them and change the lyrics to be about pizza?
I don't know about that, but that sounds like something he would do.
And it's called Pizza Underground.
That's I don't know, but that sounds like something he would do.
I'm pretty sure the merchandise store on his website at one point, one of the options was just like give Macaulay Culkin $1. Like you just added it to your cart and you didn't get anything. You were just
You got the satisfaction of giving Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone star, $1.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How many times growing up do you think people came up to him and asked him to make that face?
Oh my gosh.
God, I'd start doing drugs too.
Right. That's probably what happened to him.
Like, oh, I'm too sober for this.
Yeah. Oh.
Poor Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin, come. You know what? You do a lot of weird stuff these days. Come be on our podcast. It is very small and very unknown. It sounds like something you would do. Just come on a random unknown podcast. Macaulay Culkin, you're welcome. I invite you.
Absolutely. You are 100% invited, and we will provide pulled pork pizza since you are such a pizza fan.
Hell yes, absolutely.
Or maybe just also a cheese pizza, because that was like his thing in Home Alone.
And Surge soda.
Yeah.
We'll find some. We'll figure it out.
Or a cotton candy bang. One of the other.
I've seen very little of what he's done as an adult, but every time I see stuff that he does, it's just like, that's hilarious. There was this fucking great bit. This absolutely killed me and Sean when we watched it. I'm a huge fan of the Eric Andre show. I'm sure I've told you.
Yeah.
In the most recent season 5, they had this guy on. I think his name is Tyler Oakley.
Okay.
He's like some Olympic ice skater guy. And he kind of has a passing resemblance to Macaulay Culkin. So during the interview, Eric asks him, do people compare you to Macaulay Culkin a lot? And this guy goes, they do. I think I'm more handsome. And so everybody in the room starts going, oh, and then they cut over to like the celebrity entrance, and they have Macaulay Culkin in like a latex suit with a chainsaw.
What?
Just run at him and attack him with the chainsaw.
Nice.
And it fucking killed me. Just so fucking funny. And it's like, of course Macaulay Culkin would do that. He's so cool.
Right.
Why wouldn't he just totally just run out in like a gimp suit and a chainsaw?
Yeah.
Oh, too funny.
Well, do you remember when this was a thing? I don't remember if it was photoshopped or if they were both actually involved in this. But do you remember Macaulay Culkin and Ryan Gosling with their battling t-shirts?
No.
So I want to say maybe it started with one of them wearing a t-shirt with the other one's picture on it.
Of course, okay.
So then
already hilarious start to this.
Then the other one took a picture of them wearing the shirt with them on it and had it made into a shirt, and it kept going back and forth.
Oh my god.
So I think at some point it got to where like Macaulay Culkin was wearing a shirt of Ryan Gosling wearing a Macaulay Culkin shirt with him wearing a Ryan Gosling shirt.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
That's too good. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I really hope that's real, even if it wasn't, whoever came up with that.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, because I don't know why those two would interact with each other necessarily.
All right, so reaching out to my Discord and out on Twitter to see if anybody has any questions that we can answer live on the podcast. And the first questions I got are from Big Man Noah, who's a watcher of my live stream, and they're just all about my hair.
Okay.
How do you do your hair? How do you sleep with your hair? Can you not sleep on one side? Let me just answer all these real quick. How do I do my hair? I brush it and I put half it in a ponytail. It's really easy. How do I sleep with my hair? I put my head against it and I go to sleep. Can I not sleep on one side? No, I can sleep on both sides. My hair gets in my face, but I can just push it out of the way. Did that answer your questions, Noah? Was that worth the waste of a question you just asked? Okay, so they're all questions that like aren't really pertaining to you, Kanan asks, what are my favorite games of 2020? Which I can answer. I played Ghost of Tsushima this year. I fucking loved Ghost of Tsushima. Probably one of my favorite games of all time. It's a game where you're a samurai and an assassin, and it's super fucking fun.
I heard Sushi Ghost was a good game.
Yeah, it was great. And if you're a fan of Japanese culture like myself, it's a lot of fun.
Or if you like sushi, it's good.
I don't know. I guess since we don't, did you get any questions?
I did get a question. It was suggested that we debate whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich.
I'm not talking about that. I fucking hate that question. It's so stupid. I refuse to answer that question.
What is your issue with that?
It's just fucking semantics. Who cares? It's a hot dog. You eat it and it turns into shit. Who cares if it's a sandwich or not? It's a food. Anything can be a sandwich if you call it a fucking sandwich.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm not answering. We're not having a discussion. There is no discussion. It's a stupid fucking question. It's semantics. Call it a sandwich if you want. I don't care.
Wow, Royd Mack has very strong opinions.
It's just so dumb, and everyone keeps asking it over and over, and it's such a stupid question. Who fucking cares? It's a hot dog. It's crappy meat mixed together in a log that you boil up and put in a bun. If it's a sandwich if you want it to be a sandwich. I don't give a fuck.
All right, well, that was the only question.
I felt bad shooting down your idea to talk about it, but it's just so stupid. I'm so tired of people asking it.
Fair. That's fair. I think you're definitely the most opinionated.
I just there's certain things I really tire of people not having original thoughts. And that is a question that like one person asked and everybody was like, "Oh my God, that's the funniest question ever. Is it a sandwich or not?" Who fucking cares? Have your own fucking original thought and realize that it's a stupid question. It's semantics.
Fair.
And semantics don't matter. Okay? I'm tired of it.
It's not a sandwich.
I don't care.
It's fine.
I'm not answering. I'm not going to debate it with you. I don't care.
Okay.
If you could have a radio show, what would your radio show be about?
Hot dogs.
How many episodes do you think you could sustain talking about hot dogs, Mike?
I really do like a good freaking hot dog. You've got Chicago style. There's Coney's.
I mean, you know me, I'm kind of a picky eater, so I just have the regular hot dog. You know what? Okay, here's a weird thing I've been doing. A few months ago, when Sean came over to watch a movie, we ordered food and like I think it was like burgers with fries or something like that.
Yeah.
They didn't put any ketchup in our bags.
Okay.
And I was out of ketchup, or like I ran out of ketchup. Like I put some on my plate and then I ran out. So he told me, just give me mayo. Okay. And I was like, that's super weird. Why would you put mayos on your French fries? Mayo on your French fries.
Yeah.
So I tried it and it's really fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
So ever since then, I've started putting mayo on all kinds of stuff. Like I had a burger with ketchup and mayo. That's super good.
Yep.
And then I tried it with my hot dog too. I did a ketchup and mayo hot dog.
Okay.
And it was super good. I loved it. So before this, I would have told you I really only have hot dogs with like mustard and ketchup. But no, yeah. I do the mayo now too. That's pretty good too. I don't do the Coney dog because it's too messy, and you know I'm not a big fan of messy foods.
Right. That is very true. Coney's are fantastic though. But it's got to be like a real like Detroit style Coney, because there's this.
Should we explain what Coney's are? Do people outside of Michigan know what a Coney dog is?
They really don't. And so that is a good explanation, a good thing to explain here. So a Coney dog, they are very big in Michigan, particularly Southeast Michigan, Detroit area. You generally get them at a style of restaurant called Coney Island,
which are all over the place in Michigan. It's usually someone's name followed by Coney Island.
Yeah, there are a couple chains
like Leo's Coney Island.
Yep, Leo's. There's some really good independent ones like Lafayette Coney, that is just fantastic. But a Coney dog is a hot dog covered with a thin chili sauce without any beans, and then usually topped with yellow mustard and white onion. However, those trash fuckers up in Flint.
I have some friends in Flint, so
yeah, it's fine. No, Flint is the worst.
I feel like it's not their fault. They got some problems with their water going on. It's probably infected their brains.
They do. The water thing does kind of suck, but they have their own quote unquote Flint style coney.
Okay.
Which is basically just crumbled hamburger that they throw on top of it instead of like a chili sauce.
You know what? That sounds like it would not be that bad. To be honest.
It's straight gutter trash.
All right, whatever you say. I've never tried it, but
yeah, no, it's not a thing. Kind of like the Impossible Whopper. Like it's not a coney. You could maybe call it its own thing, but no, not a thing.
Okay, so you so far you have 2 episodes of your hot dog themed radio show. You have one about whether or not it's a sandwich, which like that would be a stupid episode to begin with. Your second one is about conies and how Flint conies are trash.
Gutter trash.
Gutter trash. Third about, I don't know, condiments. Okay, so we have 3 episodes. What's number 4, Mike? How are we gonna make this a success?
There's
See, whether or not you could have a hot dog themed radio show is significantly more interesting of a question than whether or not it's a sandwich.
What about you could have a corn dog?
Is a corn dog a hot dog? See, now this is an interesting question.
Well, there's a hot dog in it.
That's true. Okay, yeah, never mind.
There's no denying that. But
yeah, that's true. I was kind of thinking of hot dog in the traditional sense of like with a bun, and then I was questioning whether or not the corn bread on the outside would count as a bun, but I guess it that's not really the case because the hot dog itself is the hot dog. So never mind.
Right. It is still a hot dog.
I apologize. There is an insanely good corn dog place in Grand Rapids. I forget the name of it.
Are you thinking of Yesterdog?
No.
Okay, because Yesterdog is in Grand Rapids, an incredibly delicious hot dog.
I've never heard of that, but it's just like this one small stand on like a pier, like super kind of an unknown place, but they just make the most incredible corn dogs.
Huh.
I'm blanking on what the name is, but they were really fucking good. And every time I go to Grand Rapids, get 2 or 3 of those suckers and pop them in my mouth.
Well, you know what? We'll see what my buddy Mike's up to. He lives in Grand Rapids. He would probably know about the hot dog.
Give him a call live on the live stream?
Do we want to?
I mean, he's been talked about a good amount on the live stream. Let's
do that. I make phone calls very infrequently to the point where Mike might think that
you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, damn it, Mike. Pick up your phone next time.
Damn it, Mike. You lost your chance to be on the Breakroom Nachos podcast. We will never have you as a guest. You've lost your chance.
Yeah.
Do not pass co. Do not collect $200. Do not eat a hot dog sandwich. Get your fucking shit together and get out of here. And Jess, I hope you're doing okay. This is going to be Jess's favorite episode.
Oh, absolutely. We are giving her all the love this episode.
Hell yeah. You do listen. I just keep looping back to this because it's still on my mind, but you do listen to like a lot of like sports radio, right?
I do. That's more or less exclusively what I listen to if I'm in the car.
Don't you listen to the radio shows at home too? Like, don't you have that thing where you stare at the wall and do nothing all day?
Yeah, sometimes I will. I'll stream the same radio show that I listen to in the car, and play it through my TV. So there's like a still image on my screen.
I don't know. I just keep thinking about it because there's a certain vibe that like video or audio technology gives off. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of a specific niche thing, but it's one of those things that it's kind of like one of those ultimate comfortability things. And the best thing I can liken it to is when I was a kid. Again, my dad is an air traffic controller. When I lived in New Hampshire, he worked for a very small airport where there would only be one air traffic controller on duty on overnights.
Okay.
So every once in a while, one of my brothers, like me or one of my 2 brothers, would get to go with him to his overnight shift. and get to like hang out up in the tower all night.
Oh, that is so cool.
It was so cool because like you're way high up in the air. You couldn't have lights on that late at night because then you couldn't see that far out into the sky.
Right.
So the entire room is dark except for like the brightness coming off of the lights of the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just kind of like a stillness to the air that you can't get anywhere else because you're high up off the ground. So the air is a bit thinner.
Yeah.
And it's so quiet. And it's like the stillness of night is just, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just this vibe that you can't get much of anywhere else.
Yeah.
And one of the only places that I've ever really felt that same way was in a recording studio.
Okay.
Probably
the silence.
Kind of the silence. Well, it's a number of things. It's the soundproofing. It's the fact that like, you know, the front part of the studio has all the lights, but you turn off the lights everywhere else. So when you're in the control room where I would usually be, it's completely dark. The only light you have is from screens and from buttons lighting up. So, you know, the soundproofing creates that stillness in the air, the lack of lights with the buttons, that creates that part of it. And then like kind of the whirring of the equipment kind of creates that same, I don't know, like frequency that you would hear from air traffic control equipment.
Yeah.
So I get that same like comfortable vibe from it. But like, you know, when I was in high school, my school, this is the thing. My school was weird. We had this like proper TV station in the school.
Yeah.
Because the town decided to like start up a local channel. And then they were like, this is too much fucking work. So they were like, hey, school, we'll give you a bunch of money and all this equipment to keep doing the TV station for us.
Really?
Yeah. So the school district like hired someone who managed the station and they built this TV station in the high school. So when I was like taking my video classes, we used it pretty regularly. And like I was involved with the school news. So we would record our school news in the studio. And then in my senior year, I did an internship with the studio, which was like through the school, but the studio was like a separate entity because they had like a supervisor who worked for the school, but wasn't a teacher. So
yeah,
it was in a sense an internship, but you know, so I would get that same vibe from being in the studio and in the control room specifically. Like you'd have like the switcher with all the keys and only the, you know, the keys would light up depending on what was turned on. And
yeah,
so I think that's part of like why I think it'd be cool to have a radio show. I feel like I could get that same vibe if I'd had like a 3 a.m. radio show where it's just me, a microphone, some recording equipment and like all that, and you know, like the switchers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like there late at night talking about and playing music with listeners, or, you know, I can't really interact with anybody. So it's basically just by myself.
Right.
I don't know. I just think that'd be cool. That's what I've been thinking about all week. For some reason, it's been on my mind.
Just doing a radio show.
It would just be cool. And I think, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I think I could have a pretty interesting radio show because, you know, I'm a pretty entertaining fella. I've been doing this for a few years. Been on live streams, been on the podcast, been doing some talking into a microphone.
Right.
Like I'm not the most interesting person in the world, but I know this stuff.
Right.
So, you know, I can certainly keep it interesting to an extent. And I do have very like, what's the word I'm looking for? A very varied interest in music.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in the last year, I started listening to a small rapper who, like, when I started listening to him, had like 15,000 followers on Twitter. And then I also started listening to like Japanese funk and rock bands. And then I also got into Fleetwood Mac. Like I listened
nice.
I listen to so much different kinds of music. So it'd be really cool to get to play like all kinds, like have like theme nights. Like tonight we're doing funk music. Tonight we're doing, I don't know, 70s stuff or whatever. Just have like theme nights on my radio show at 3 a.m. Like I just think that'd be cool. I think that'd be fun.
Huh. I didn't know you liked Fleetwood Mac.
I just recently got into them. I haven't listened to a ton of music. I noticed something about myself. If I find an artist that I like and then I listen to their entire discography, I will grow tired of them really quickly because I kind of overwhelm myself with how much I had to listen to.
Okay.
So in the past year, I started doing something, and I think this has really helped me kind of maintain an interest in music. When I find a new artist I like, I will listen to one album, and then I won't listen to anything else I haven't heard from them for a while. Like give it a couple months.
Okay.
Because then I can like have enough to satisfy my interest in them, but still want more from them so that I never really grow tired of it. So I haven't listened to a ton of Fleetwood Mac stuff.
Okay.
But like the 2018 remaster of Tusk and Little Lies, both really amazing good songs.
Okay.
And then Big Love, Gypsy, Everywhere.
Gypsy's a great one.
They're great songs. They're so good.
You need to listen to Blue Letter. That's a good one too. We
I don't think
actually
I've heard that one.
we actually used to play it at World Market. It wasn't a released track, and Stevie Nicks doesn't sing lead, so it usually gets kind of glossed over among Fleetwood Mac songs.
Gotcha.
But they were kind of my jam all summer. Like at some point, I just got really into them, and then that freaking viral video with the cranberry juice.
Yeah, Listening to Dreams. That's a good one too.
Yeah, well, great song, but yeah, that like
Blew up,
out of
yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah, no, they're really good. I never expected myself to be a Fleetwood Mac fan. Like it never seemed like a band I would be interested in. And I do feel like my musical interest has really broadened over the past year, because I also like didn't listen to much rap, but now there's a few raps artists that I like, and like Fleetwood Mac is kind of more like classic rock, and I really don't listen to classic rock, so it's been interesting getting into them, kind of seeing what I can end up liking without even realizing it. But the way I got into them was kind of stupid. There is a really popular manga and anime series called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Okay.
JoJo is really funny because the author, like the main characters in it all have an ability called a stand, which is like a mental manifestation. It's like a separate person that attacks for them. That's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
They all like name their stands, and like when he first started creating stands, he would name them after like tarot cards. Okay, so there'd be like Purple Hermit, Star Platinum, The World.
Okay.
And when he ran out of those, he named them after Egyptian gods. So you'd have like Set and Anubis.
Okay.
And when he ran out of those, he just started naming them after bands he liked and songs he liked.
Oh no.
There's like one named Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's one named Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, which he just shortens to D4C, which is hilarious.
Nice.
But the main character of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7, Johnny, has a stand named Tusk. And I was like,
okay,
where does Tusk come from? I've never heard of this. So I looked up Tusk and I listened to Tusk. And I was like, that song's pretty good. And then YouTube kept recommending it to me, and I kept listening to it. And I was like, man, Tusk is kind of fucking awesome. I should listen to more Fleetwood Mac.
Right? Yeah, that happens sometimes.
That's the story of me getting into Fleetwood Mac. A little weird, but that's how it happened.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I think I just got into him from, I mean, I always liked him, but I think over the summer, I think they were just like a suggested YouTube video, and I just kept rolling with it from there.
You know what's funny? I completely missed that like trend, like the whole TikTok thing.
Oh yeah.
Partly because I don't use TikTok, but like I found out about that like way after when it actually happened.
Okay.
I got it. Like, you know me, I'm super disconnected from reality. I don't know anything about what's going on in the world around me, especially now that I work super early mornings. I never know what the fuck's going on in like popular culture.
See, I would have thought that you would have at least known what that was from your other projects you work on. I figured one of your little wee kitty friends would have been like, "Hey, look at me, I'm on TikTok."
No, I haven't had that happen. By the way, everybody who watches my live streams is now known as my wee little kitty friends. Microwave, I know you're in your mid-20s. You're now a wee little kitty kid or whatever. That's too good. No, I somehow just missed that trend completely. It just flew past me. I didn't see any of it.
Bradley's boyfriend Anthony is very much into TikTok.
Bradley's super into TikTok.
Yeah, but Bradley doesn't really like create content.
Oh, does he make content?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm constantly getting updates about how many followers he's got, and
I've never been interested in a TikTok trend.
No.
Maybe part of it is the fact that I'm, do YouTube and Twitch, but there are exceptions, obviously, with TikTok where people actually are like doing something interesting with it. But I feel like most of the time it's really lazy content or content that piggybacks off of other people's work. And I just don't like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially like the music stuff, like with the people who are getting super popular for dancing. And it's like, okay, go be a backup dancer. You're not a star because you dance to someone else's song.
Right.
Or you're just a jackass.
Or you just lip sync to music.
Yeah, go make your own fucking music. Why do people like watching that? I sound pretentious when I talk about it, but
A little bit, but
whatever. I'm an asshole. I don't like the hot dog trend either, so I'm just a pretentious dick, clearly.
the hot dog thing I like, but not into
Hate
the,
it.
Not into
Fucking hate it.
Not into
So stupid.
Not into the TikTok.
Oh,
I mean, what are you gonna do? It's fine. We don't have to talk about it.
I come all over the place.
Wow. Wow.
I'm just gonna make a mess.
That doesn't even make sense.
It's a defense mechanism. You know, like how pufferfish, like blow themselves up and get all pointy as a defense mechanism. I just come all over the place. Like, what are you gonna do at that point? What if someone comes to attack me and I just start coming? What are they gonna do? You're not gonna beat up a guy who's in the middle of coming.
I guess that's true. To kind of piggyback a more real world example of the story you just created.
Okay. That's not a story that's real, but continue.
The radio station I listened to, they were talking, this was a couple weeks ago, and I think it was someone that worked in the building. It was none of like
The people on
on-air-
the show.
Yeah. They've got a huge building with like sales staff and HR and all sorts of stuff like that. But I guess two guys were in the men's room at the urinal.
No.
I guess the one guy looks over at the other one and goes, "Oh, you're just a little guy." And then proceeds to just smack him in the dick. And then
what?
And he zipped up and ran off.
What? That is okay. So me coming as a defense mechanism is probably like the ultimate like beta male defense mechanism. That right there is like the ultimate alpha male move.
Oh, absolutely.
You're just a little guy, smack him, send him wobbling, and then get out of there.
Could you imagine?
What would you do?
You would be so caught off guard.
I wouldn't even be able to leave the bathroom. I'd be like, what if they see me and mention this to people? Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Who just does that?
I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Can you imagine what that report sounds like to HR when they have to hear about that?
That's so absurd. But oh God, I can't even imagine the embarrassment. Or not even the embarrassment, just the uncomfortability.
Just the shock of someone just tapping you in the dick and being like, "Oh, there you are, little guy," and just running off.
Oh my God. Oh, that reminds me in high school, the urinals at my high school didn't have dividers between them.
Oh yeah.
Which is a terrible thing to do to high schoolers. Like that's just asking for bullying to start happening.
Right.
So, I mean, it was just a complex chess game. Like you'd either use the outside urinals or like there had to be a space between you and the next guy. There'd be 5 urinals to a bathroom, but only 3 would get used at most. Because no one was ever willing to stand next to the other guy while their dick's out.
Right. With that being said, did you have the bathroom stalls in high school that didn't have doors?
Did not have that. I don't know why that's a thing. That's horrifying.
Why is that ever a thing?
Who would do that? That's terrible.
Who wants to just sit there dropping a deuce just exposed to everyone in the world?
I don't know. I feel like that's the only way that makes that you can like rationalize that is like trying to, again, the alpha male, beta male, thought process. Like if someone wants to establish themselves as the alpha male, all you got to do, dude, is just like save up your shit for like 3 days. Just like hold it in, go in the bathroom, drop trowel, legs spread, let it fucking loose, stink that motherfucker up, and let everybody in the bathroom know who's boss.
I like it.
And then you own that bathroom and the rest of the school probably. Or like, I wonder if it's a thing in prisons, because I know like there's toilets in the cells.
Right.
I wonder if it's a thing in prison, like as soon as you get like put in your cell, you have to immediately take a shit
And
to establish yourself as the alpha.
Dominance.
Exactly. Assert your dominance by immediately taking a shit in the open toilet with your cellmate, so they know right away you mean business.
I when you do that, you have to stare them directly in the eye.
Oh, totally. You have to let them know.
Right.
They got to know this is intentional. This is not like I really needed to shit as soon as I got here. This is 100% a move.
Like, I don't even have to go.
You got to submit. This is my cell. I am my toilet.
Forcing this out right now.
I'm pooping out blanks, my dude. It's just air coming out, but you got to know it's there. What is this podcast?
I don't know.
Thank you for listening to the 4th episode of Breakroom Nachos. It's been super great seeing how much everybody's loving this. Like everybody I've heard from is loving the podcast.
Really good feedback so far. Yep,
And
same thing with everyone who's given me any kind of feedback.
I'm super excited about it. You guys don't even know. Like I get so excited for like as soon as one episode comes out, I cannot wait to upload the next episode.
Absolutely.
Like any people listening out there, I know some of the people on my Discord, like you might be excited all week to hear the next episode of the podcast. I am just as excited all week to upload the next episode of the podcast because we're having so much fun doing this.
Absolutely. And I keep doing this thing where I don't I try not to check any social media responses until after I've already listened to the new episode. So I usually listen to it throughout Monday and then don't check anything until like that afternoon or evening. So I've got like a whole like buildup of
so you can just really get the dopamine going with all this positive feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. That's fun. I really enjoy it. I mean, you don't get to see what people are saying on my Discord because that's obviously on my Discord, but
yeah,
people are really enjoying it. People have been saying that a big reason they listen to my podcast or to my streams, which I didn't even know about this, was just to hear me ramble and talk about stories, which I didn't know because I always apologize for rambling on my live streams. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, I'm distracting from the game with my stories. But apparently that's what people like. So I just got a weird question in the Discord from our old coworker, Jess, and I don't know what this means. So I am curious as well.
Okay.
Which was worse? JT was short or the block was clean? What does that mean?
What?
What does that mean?
JT. Oh, that is 100% a Michigan football thing. So what was the question again? I know it was in relation to Michigan, Ohio State.
JT was short or the block was clean?
The JT was short would have been Michigan, Ohio State. The quarterback was JT Barrett at the time, and he was ruled to have gotten a first down, but he was really short. It affected the outcome of the game. As far as the block,
he probably should have just shit on the field so everyone know he meant business.
Right. And then as far as the block was clean, Jess, I think are you talking about trouble with the snap, or I don't know, maybe you're talking about something else, but
trouble with the snap kind of sounds like a porn name.
like a name or like a movie?
Like the name of the porn movie.
Right.
Not like a porn star's name.
Right. Trouble with the snap. Trouble with the snap.
Oh. Anyway, join us next week when we'll be converting this from Breakroom Nachos to Breakroom Hot Dogs. Thank you for joining us on the 4th episode of the Breakroom Hot Dogs podcast.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
I hate you.